Hello and welcome to another trip report. The last time I was in America I got loads of comments on my videos saying you should really check out Spirit Airlines, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. I'm flying Spirit Airlines, perhaps America's least favourite carrier, between Los Angeles and Denver. Let's go check it out. Spirit are based out of Terminal 5 here at LAX, and despite the early morning start you can see it's always busy with traffic here. Check-in is pretty simple, but there is something I really should let you know about. Be aware of Spirit's baggage allowance. It's only 18 kilos for your main cabin bag. A couple of things you'll need to know if you've never come across Spirit before. The first thing you need to know is Spirit are an ultra low cost carrier, and that means that you have to add in all of the bundles and services that you want on top of a cheap base fare. I'll go into full details about the cost at the end of the video, but you should know that what I paid for this flight is the same as what United Airlines were offering on exactly the same route, leaving half an hour later on a 757-300 in first class. One of the things I love about LAX Airport is the fact that you can walk between all of the terminals now quite easily on the interterminal connector routes. There is no priority pass lounge at all in Terminal 5, but that's no biggie because you can simply walk 5 minutes down the road to Terminal 6, where you'll find the Alaska Lounge. This is a pretty standard Alaska Airlines lounge, and I was using it really as a quick stop for some breakfast. The lounge filled up really quickly, and in fact they stopped admitting priority pass customers about 10 minutes after I entered, so I was quite lucky. A self-confessed aviation geek, my favourite part of this lounge is the fact that you can look out onto the tarmac through these enormous windows. Talking of Alaska Airlines, I personally was disappointed when they bought out the unique Virgin America carrier. I never had an opportunity to try them myself, and I'm disappointed that the Virgin America tails are now a thing of the past. However, Alaska do have this wonderful transition livery which is going around on one of its A321s. I don't know about you, but I'm always inspired by looking at the different airlines on the tarmac. This is Hawaiian Airlines, an airline I've yet to take, and seeing this JetBlue A321 reminds me of the fantastic journey I had last year in their Mint business class. So pre-boarding is going to start in about 10 minutes. Had a pretty good morning actually. Security, no problem. Got through the airport absolutely fine, and even had a brief stint in the lounge, courtesy of Priority Pass and Alaska. So yeah, so far so good. Looking forward to it. This is our ride, an Airbus A321. Let's get on board. So yeah, I cheated. I actually bought one of Spirit's big front seats, which are basically first class seats that you'd find on any other United States carrier flying domestically. Here are Spirit's normal seats. These are incredibly bare seats, 28 inches of pitch apparently. I'll admit that this kind of seating is not something I'd like to endure for anything more than an hour. Despite all of this, I have to say that Spirit's cabin looked fresh and was spotlessly clean. I was also pretty impressed with the legroom that you get in these big front seats. As I said, definitely comparable to any domestic first class seat going. Everyone has told me that Spirit Airlines are a terrible airline, but so far, so good. Let's get into the sky. I've flown into or out of LAX several times now, and I'm always struck by how spectacular the departure is if you're heading towards the northeast. A top AvGeek tip, keep your eyes on the runway as you turn away at LAX and you'll definitely see other aircraft taking off into the sky after you. It's quite a sight. As we turn out and head over the San Gabriel Mountains, it's time to have a quick look at the route we'll be taking today. It's 861 miles and we'll be travelling at 35,000 feet. It'll take us just an hour and a half today. If you fly over this part of the world, you will come across many interesting and varied airfields. This used to be Helendale Auxiliary Army Airfield, and its history is too interesting for me to share here, so I've included some links in the description below. I'm pleased to report that unlike my previous flight on United, the toilet was completely intact on this flight. However, I wasn't quite so impressed with their whimsical choice of name for their toiletries. Something else that made me chuckle was having a look at the safety card. Look at this infant's face, it looks like a fully grown man. What's going on there? Somewhere that Spirit definitely fall behind with their competitors is with onboard connectivity. Wi-Fi is not available, but is apparently coming next year. Given that there's no entertainment on board, there's only one way I know how to keep myself occupied on board a Spirit aircraft, and that's by ordering something to eat and drink. Now, there's no such thing as cheap onboard catering anywhere in the Western world, at least not in my experience, but I was quite pleasantly surprised when I flicked through the menu to find that Spirit weren't ridiculously overcharging you. I thought the prices, in all honesty, were quite reasonable. Having read lots of feedback about Spirit's onboard catering, I knew that the thing to try were buzzballs. Now, it may only have been 9:30 in the morning, but these cocktails were definitely on my to-do list, and I wasn't disappointed. For pre-mixed cocktails, I thought these were pretty good. My favourite was the Maulin lemonade. They also got some of Spirit's cup noodles, all in the name of research, of course. Something I've not seen in a long time is flight attendants barricading the aisle with the trolley so that they can open the cockpit door safely and serve the pilots. This is one of my favourite journeys to do in America. The scenery is wonderful. Descending into Denver requires going over the Rocky Mountains, and the turbulence is quite something. Turbulence or not, we're soon approaching Denver's enormous airport, and I'm arriving refreshed, slightly half-cut, and pretty happy. So onto what I paid for this ticket. The base fare for this particular flight was $59, which I do think in American terms is genuinely a cheap fare. However, with all of the add-ons that I had, including flexibility, a hold bag, my big front seat and so on, this came to $173, about £130 one way. Now, instinctively, yes, you would think that's expensive, but remember, I do take these flights for research purposes. I found the big front seat to be a complete game changer, and if I did have to fly Spirit, I would certainly be looking into purchasing the big front seat again, especially if it was on a longer route. Another thing I should add is that the crew were very polite, approachable, fun, and professional. I did promise you guys I would fly Spirit, and now I have. I'm sorry for cheating there. So that is how I found Spirit Airlines in their big front seat on a 2-hour flight between Los Angeles and Denver, where the weather is fantastic here in the American West. Really glad you can join for this particular video. Really glad that I could show you Spirit Airlines as well, which is not an airline that features often on YouTube trip reports. Let me know what you think of Spirit in the comments below, but until next time, I'm going to wrap it up here. and I'll see you around.